Hi there, Vibe Gardeners. Welcome to another episode of Vibe Gardening Informed Edition. We're going to go into the 7th month and the final month of the garlic in container experiment, as you can see back there. With that said, let's go. Alright guys, to kind of give a summary of what's been going on here is that we've been running this experiment of garlic in containers for a total of 7 months now. And we're getting to the point where even the seed starting here back there and the storage of tomato and everything, well, they've come to an end because now it is the middle of May and we're reaching, fast approaching last frost date. And we are about to plant everything outdoors, and I really just am kind of sick and tired of this experiment, I'll be frank. But also, I believe all but one of the garlic is ready to be harvested. So in this episode, I'm going to show you guys what they look like right now for the ones that remaining. Going to harvest all but one of the remaining ones. Compare the size, and we're going to move the final garlic outdoors to where it's going to be happy. It's already about past 7:30 here in Michigan, and it's about an hour or so from sunset, which will give it the great time to go out there and get hardened for the outdoors. So with that said, let's get going. All right, to remind everyone what's going on here, so we have the 1 gallon pot here, we got a 2 gallon pot here, we got this big one with however many gallon that I can't even remember. So I've already cut off the scape on this one, and that one. And this one, the final one, is just developing scapes. That's why I want to harvest it. So I'm going to do a little close-up of them as I'm harvesting. And you can see what's been going on. So this is the smallest one. It's one of the more underdeveloped ones been coming along. And I don't expect much from this. So let's harvest. All right, first we're going to harvest the 1 gallon one here. And oh yeah, the root is completely, look how it's coming out. The root is completely enveloped the whole entire thing. I'm going to have to peel this back a little bit and try to make as little mess as possible, which is not really happening very well. So I'm going to, oh, it's going to be messy here. I'm going to try to dump some of this into the, into the saucer down here for catching the dirt, the water. And it's making a royal mess here. So now that we're able to, come on. We need a pair of scissors here to make this work. And here you go. Oh boy. That was messy. Here it is. And this is the rest of the leaves. And pretty uninspiring. All right, now the 2 gallons. Let's see how this one works. And we're also armed with shearing scissors. It should go a little quicker, I hope. There we go. Oh yeah. Not looking, it seems like there's a bit of root rot going on here. It's a little bit of rotting here, but yeah. And this is how much green is left on top. Maybe a little too early, but like look at these leaves here. They're very tiny. I don't know if I harvested too early. Not 100% sure. And just here we are. All right, guys, this is the final one, and this is the smallest one, and I'm expecting probably the smallest bulb. So let's see what happens here with this one. Yeah, it's pretty small and pathetic. So not exactly the most surprised. See the size of this guy? Not at all surprised. So look at the size of the leaves here. There's really not much left compared to the other guys. So we are going to cut it. Yep. All right, guys. So here is the final tally of what we got. And as we can see here, this is the first one we harvest on month 5. That's the first one from the big pot. It's the most vigorous, the first one to come through. And though I thought it was small, it was bigger in comparison to everything else. Now this one was one that after last month's update, the 6-month update, within a week I realized that this one gotten to this point where the top didn't have much of a leaf left. So what I ended up doing was I harvested, not on camera because it was time. I didn't want it to start rotting at the bottom. So as you can see, there's a sizable difference in that it's a little bit, it's actually not sizable, it's a little bit smaller than this one. And then finally, we got the 1 and 2 gallon here. And I think they probably could have used a little bit more time underground. But relatively speaking, it's not too much different. This one has a thicker stalk. I don't know if it's genetics or if it's just pot size, but definitely underdeveloped. This guy was already, it still has a bit of green to still expand, but honestly speaking, looking at how root bound it was, I'm not sure how much it would have gotten bigger. And things were so slow, I probably would have gotten this thing past month 8 or 9. But this guy right here, this one was the one that was starting to really, they really could have had probably another month or 2 left and maybe get to these kind of size, though, like I said, it's been so long that it's been way past its natural cycle. I don't think it's worth it to observe any longer. And the final one, this one, I think this is a more genetic issue than anything in that variation, in that this was pretty much almost done by this point. And it's just small. It came from the big pot. As you can see, compared to these 3, there's no comparison. It started out the biggest with the most vigorous, second most vigorous, and then finally the least vigorous. And we're seeing here that genetic variation is likely to be the biggest factor and player in how big the bulbs come out. So maybe, soil mass isn't as big of a factor as we thought. It's just how fast they're able to come up and produce their their leaves. So maybe that has more to do with it. All right, guys, so this is it, the final chapter of the saga. We got this guy now standing next to the outdoors garlic in the middle of May. So I'm assuming these guys have been out for at least 2 to 3 months already. So let's do a measurement. So the biggest span of this one right here, right next to me, comes about 20 inches. And this guy here, the biggest span I can get on this that's left now, is probably closer to 16 to 18 inches. So yeah, we're looking at like a 2-inch difference in wingspan at the very minimum for this guy in shortness. So I'm going to leave this out and let it have the rest of the days in retirement out here in the open where it probably wants to be, and we'll send it off to happiness. So I hope this guy gave you guys a bit of a little look into container gardening with garlic. And I think the conclusion we got here is that there's definitely 2 things in play. There's pot size, and then there's also definitely a bit of a timing as when the leaf comes out. And it seems like the earlier the leaf come out, which shows vigor, the more bigger the bulb gets. So I think that's actually a bigger lesson here, in that genetics and the vigor of the garlic has more to do than maybe pot size. Like I said, we still don't quite know, because at the end, everything was more pathetic at the end. And I think it's just everything was slower. And hopefully, looking through everything, give you guys a nice little journey on how I spent 7 months trying to grow those guys in containers indoors in my basement. All right, keep gardening and keep vibing. Let's go.